Since we've never seen God, we can't use anything like I explained yesterday, saying the amazing structure and the way everything is interrelated and all functioning in a systematic way in this whole unlimited universe. We can infer the existence of some divine, all-knowing, all-powerful being must be behind this. We can use that kind of logic, but that's not final evidence because we've never seen God with our own eyes and we weren't there when He created all of this. So we don't have pratyaksh praman or anuman praman of God's existence, so we have to take the third kind of evidence, shabda praman. It means we take the words of the experts. Just like in science, you take the words of the experts for the things that you haven't directly observed yourself. And if you want to directly observe them, you can follow in the footsteps of those great scientists and reproduce the same experiments that they did in order to get direct observational results of a particular thing. So saints say, you can do the same thing with God. I attained God. You can also do it. All you have to do is follow this path, the same path that the saints followed. They say follow this path, and you can have direct observation of God. You can see Him for yourself. So there's no conflict between science and God, as long as we understand that God is not the subject of material science, because He's beyond our material senses. But by following the path to God, through God's grace, we can get divine senses and we can directly observe Him. Meaning we can see Him with our own divine eyes. We can know Him with our divine intellect. But with a limited material intellect, we can't know Him. So, the path to God can be followed by anyone, and he can attain God and have the evidence that he wants, the direct evidence of God's existence. Now, the whole point of this 7-day program is to explain the path to God to you. But before we get to that point, there are some doubts and confusions that we want to clear up along the way. So we'll be talking about why should we desire God. On the first day we talked about how without God no one can attain perfect happiness. And even if you attain God, it doesn't mean that you're ignoring the world. You still, as long as you have a physical body, you have to take care of your worldly needs. So that's one doubt removed. Meaning, don't think that because you desire to attain God, that you have to completely abandon everything in this world. That's a doubt people have. So erase that doubt. You don't have to do that. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Just add in a desire to attain God in this life. Another doubt we removed yesterday, the doubt that believing in God is like a blind faith. So I explained that it's not. It's an intelligent faith. It would be a blind faith if the saints in scriptures said, just believe in God because I'm telling you, but I'm never going to give you a chance to prove it for yourself. That would be blind faith. But they're encouraging us to prove it for ourselves. Follow the path and see God for yourself, they say. So it's an intelligent faith. It's a starting point. And then you get the proof along the way, and the final proof upon God realization. So there's another doubt that people have about this great knowledge of our Vedas, Gita, Puranas that we have, which is the basis of Hindu philosophy or the source of the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma. Another doubt that we have is, what about the other religions? They have different books, different philosophies, different ideas about God. So when I present this philosophy of Sanatana Dharma to you, when I talk about what the saints and scriptures say, I talk about it as a fact. It says truth, a divine truth. So someone may have a doubt that what about what the other religions are saying? Are there contradictions? Is one right and one wrong? So today, very quickly, in a very short speech, I'm going to reconcile this also so that that doubt is removed. There are 11 major religions in the world today. Geographically speaking, you can say 4 Indian religions: Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism. 4 Western religions: Judaism, Christianity, Zoroastrianism or Parsi religion, and Islam. And 3 religions from China and Japan: Confucianism, Taoism, and Shinto religion. So 3 plus 4 plus 4, 11 total on the earth today, major religions. Now, nowadays in the world, it's become a popular thing to say that all religions are the same. It's all the same. They're all leading to the same place. Follow any religion with faith, and you'll get to the same place. Doesn't matter. Whatever religion you are, follow that with faith, you'll get to the exact same place as someone from another religion following their religion with faith. Now this is something which is safe to say. It means we feel safe when we say that we won't offend anybody from any other religion. But is it philosophically correct? No, it's completely wrong. It's convenient to say it because it's a handy thing to say. When we don't have the correct knowledge, it's a handy thing to say. It's all the same. All religions go to the same place. Well, let's look at one major difference. All religions do not even teach of the existence of God. Out of those 11, 4 of those major religions do not teach anything about Supreme God. Buddhism is considered an atheistic religion because there's no philosophy of God in Buddhism. For that matter, there's no philosophy of the soul in Buddhism. It goes as far as the mind. Mind, desires, thoughts, but no explanation of what the soul is, and no explanation of who God is or what God is. In Jainism, although there's a philosophy of soul, there's a description of soul, but there's no description of Supreme God in Jainism. In Shinto religion, there's no description of Supreme God. There's a description of different, you might call them spirit gods or celestial gods that they worship, but not Supreme God. And in Confucianism as well, there's no talk of God whatsoever. So just taking that, we see that this talk of it's all the same completely breaks down right at the initial examination. Even all religions do not teach about God. Now, that's just a simple example to explain to you that there are differences. Let's just leave aside the differences for a moment, and taking those religions that do teach about God, look at how they teach about God. There are certain similarities. Certain things would be common between Hinduism and the other religions that do teach, or in their philosophy there is a mention of Supreme God and what He is like. So, if you just take a basic, simple definition of God, it could be agreed on by all the religions. For instance, God is one. No one is going to try to argue that there's more than one God. In fact, although they may not think of it this way, there's not even more than one God for different religions, meaning there's not a Hindu God and a Christian God and a Muslim God and a Jewish God. There aren't different gods for different religions. There's one God, and whoever, from whatever religion, is worshiping God, they're all worshiping the same God. That's one thing. So there's not more than one God. That everyone could agree on. Nobody would think of there being two gods. How would that be possible? Because we would also all agree on God being unlimited. Unlimited and absolute. So if God is unlimited and absolute, then there's no way there could be two gods. If there were two gods, then one would limit the other. Where one God ended, the other one would be able to begin. You couldn't have two gods existing simultaneously in the same place. No. If God is unlimited, omnipresent, absolute, then He can only be one. So everyone could agree on this, that there's only one God. And everybody, no matter where they are on this earth planet, or in fact, no matter where they are in this universe, even if they're on other planets, if there are other earth planets with souls living over there, somewhere else in this endless universe, and they're worshiping God over there, do they have a different God for their earth planet? No. Same God. There can only be one God for the whole universe. So all the religions, if they worship God, they're worshiping the same God. That's for sure. And the definition of God, the basic definition, as I said, we would all agree that God is divine, God is unlimited, God is absolute, God is omnipresent. It means God is everywhere. No one would argue that point, no matter what religion they're from. God is all-powerful. We would all agree on this. God is all-knowing. Sure, no one would have a problem with this. We all know that God knows everything. He even knows our every thought. He knows every single thought of every single soul living everywhere in this whole entire universe. So He is all-knowing. He knows everything that's happened before. He knows everything that's going on now. He knows everything that's destined to happen in the future. So, this basic definition or description of God can be agreed on by everybody. God is all kind. Nobody would argue this. He's gracious. Now, this is a general description of God, which could be found definitely in Hinduism. Eko deva sarva bhuteshu gudha sarva vyapi sarva bhutantaratma karmadhyaksha sarva lokadhivasah. This is a verse from Shvetashvatra Upanishad saying just these things, a basic definition of God, that God is everywhere and God is only one. God is all-powerful, all-knowing. God is the form of bliss. He is divine. All religions who are theistic would agree on this philosophy, and you can find some kind of description like this in their scriptures telling about God. Maybe not the whole entire thing I just described, but some part of that would be there. The thing is, and now I'm going back to the differences. Although we would all agree on this, that's where the description of God in other religions ends. What I just described for you in 2 minutes, that's the extent, the full extent. Even that isn't there to that extent what I just described. Even that much isn't there all at one place in most other religious books. But even if it were, that's the extent of it. It doesn't go beyond that. So it's a very general or vague definition of God. In Hinduism, we have many more specifics beyond what I just told you. So think of it like this. In all other religions, the description of God is general, kind of like the word color. The word color is a general thing, it's not a specific thing. Specific would be blue or red or yellow, that's